Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have a very interesting topic, installing and deploying Microsoft Dynamics 365. If you're a developer, business analyst, deployment administrator, or even a person who's willing to understand how to install and deploy Microsoft Dynamics on-premise version. Though Microsoft is pushing its existing customers to move to Microsoft Cloud, but there is still a lot of customers who are not willing to migrate to Microsoft Cloud, such as banking and big organizations. So let's dive into our sessions. What is our agenda for today will be how could we deploy Microsoft Dynamics? What are the available options that we have? Installation prerequisites. What are the points that we need to consider before starting the installer? And I will even walk you through how to, or step by step, how to install Microsoft Dynamics application. So first, what are the available options we have? It's actually depend on the organization size that you're about to deploy Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Whether it has to be high availability or a low availability environments. It depends on the use. So few customers will say running Microsoft Dynamics 24/7 it is not mandatory for us. So in that case, you could go with single node deployment, such as one server to run Microsoft Dynamics application, front end or full server, and another server as an Active Directory, and SQL Server database, of course, and optional ADFS server. ADFS server, for those who doesn't know, is used to forward the request or authentication request to Microsoft Dynamics servers. Again, another customers will have another options, which is multiple nodes. If you can see here in my right that a company might decide to have two nodes or two server per application. For example, two ADFS server will work on the same time. If one goes down, the other one will come up. Active passive connectivity. And two ADFS servers. Again, two dynamic servers and two SQL servers. And the number could go more. We can have more than two ADFS server and more than two Active Directory and CRM server, and it's actually depend on the business requirement. And again, this has to be decided very well before while sizing the project itself. Next, what we have is the prerequisites. In order to install Microsoft Dynamics, there should be a list of users or service account that has to be created. It has to run, that's used to run Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Those has to be created in the Active Directory with the minimum amount of privilege that should get. So what are these service account? I've already shared with them, but again in the next slide we'll be seeing full details of them. And again, it's required to have an organization unit. Why do we create an organization unit? To group all CRM installation in single folder. Again, once these prerequisites and user account have been created, we'll move ahead to run our installer. Now, the moment when you hit start the installer, you'll get multiple options. I made sure that actually I have not recorded the video. I just made sure that I took the screen, so I will take time to explain for you each and every screen what does it mean. So Microsoft will normally ask you to get a latest update. For example, if your installer is CRM 9.0, it will immediately upgrade it to 9.1 and so on to the latest Microsoft Dynamics CRM installer. But you have to consider this option. If you are adding this server, the new server which you're about to install to the existing firm, make sure it has the same version of what we installed, because later on it will check the database and the existing deployment options. So what we recommend, if you're adding the existing node, click do not get updates. Second thing, it will ask you to select the installation directory. For many of us are just simply clicking click what does it, without knowing what does an installation directory mean to be. It's actually based on the organization backup or organization structure. So you need to consult with your system admin whether properly they're taking backup of the existing servers. There's no more details to be explained on this page. It's straightforward. Again, coming back to this page, it's actually very important area, and please pay a lot of attention. While installing Microsoft Dynamics, you have three options or three server deployments. You have front-end server, a back-end server, and deployment administration server. What do you mean by front-end servers? Are the servers that require to be accessed through IIS or user interfaces. A backend server, what's what you know, is normally used to run the plugins and the background processes such as sending emails, whatever, and database load and everything. And deployment administrator is nothing but it will give you privilege of managing the deployment. For example, deleting an organization, adding in organizations, backing up the organization, so many activities, upgrading CRMs, and so many things you can do through deployment administrator. And for that, this is a separate tool called deployment administrator. It will become along with the installer. So if you're installing, you'll be having many options. For example, based on the if the organization has many users, but many users to access CRM, but those many users have only limited background processes. They are not sending email, they are not having proper a lot of background application. Just you can have more than front-end server. So you can install CRM front-end roles in multiple server and back-end server in one server. So again, those information later on, if you can see in the right side, again using in later future, if you decided you are about to change this, you can go use the deployment administrator, and from there itself you can add or remove server roles from existing servers. Next screen will be specifying the deployment options. Here you'll be having multiple options. One, create new deployment. This will create a database, CRM database, as well as the CRM configuration database. You create one organization, one configuration database. This one I will explain to you later on. And again, you have second option, which is connect to an existing organization. Let's say you have a running one node or two nodes of CRM, and there's a lot of load, and you want to add one more extra full server role. So you'll select this one, and this new server will be added to the existing firm, which you can have 3, 4, 5, 6 servers from CRM servers. And here it will look for the SQL Server instance. Again, if you are adding clustered SQL DB, here you need to specify the instance name, not the SQL Server name or the SQL Server node name. It should be an instance name. And for that, it should communicate actually on port number 443. Just for your information, it should be open between CRM server and as well DB servers, back and forth bidirectionals. And again, on another port, you need port 80. Report server run on port 80. So you need the report server later on in our installation. Next slide is where you will see you need to select the organization unit. As we said, organization unit used to group all users and all the groups in single units. This is a well-known step, so no need to emphasize more. Once you select, it will show up in here. Again, next step, if you are installing Microsoft Dynamics for trial, you get license key for 90 days with no call. You can do a lot of things, and once 90 days expired, you can no more use CRM on that server. So as a workaround, if you are training yourself on installation, we suggest to, before 90 days expired, back up your DB and start. Once the 90 days expired, create a new server and restore the database or restore the CRM organization. Please, if you want me to show you the step, please request to my YouTube channel. I will of course show you how. Again, here is the service accounts. If you remember, we have created those users service accounts. Those users will be used in here to specify least privileges. What services? So Microsoft Dynamics will have, of course, many services that could run under specific service accounts. For example, I have segregate them here. If you see, you're seeing 6 services, and I'll explain to you one by one what that exactly means. So what you are seeing here, you have application services. Those used to host the CRM website and run the custom apps. Let's say organization services endpoints, and as well the deployment service endpoints. And for our case, we'll be using dedicated service account called CRM app, and this is type the server role is front end server. So I made this table. It will be very helpful for you. And one more thing, you'll see deployment web services. If you are seeing deployment web service here, it's actually what I have copied. Those informations, I've added them here. And it's essential to manage CRM deployment, I've explained earlier. And the sandbox processing. What do you mean by sandbox processing? If you are a developer, you'll come to know when you register a plugin in your organization as in isolation mode, then this will have least security privileges. So it's in a dedicated area or less secure area where developer can run their plugins without affecting the existing organization. VSS writer. It is mainly used for shadow copying of the CRM. It's mainly, but actually it works in parallel with the DB backup in place for certain company. Provide time and a lot of proper to back up the databases. And synchronous processing services. This is to run the background process such as workflows, plugins, and everything registers to be work as a background process to of course run under these processes. Monitoring services. This monitor the health and the performance of the CRM overall. Once by providing here and entering whatever password you specified or you got from your system administration team, will specify it in the down on this area here. Once you click next, and by the way, once get installed, you will be seeing under services on the CRM server under service, you will be seeing those list of services and should be running, and each will be under the service name, service account name. Here again, on this stage, CRM will ask you, do you still want, if it will try to check if IIS is already installed on the server, it will ignore it, otherwise it will install it. And do you need to create a new website on the IIS? Yes. Much cases, normally in our latest implementations, we choose create a new website. It will be under port 55, and later on you can go and change it if you're about to integrate with ADFS service. Then email router settings. This is an optional. This used to be previously available when we don't have. Now this option is replaced with the Microsoft Dynamics apps for Outlook. I will tell you what is it actually. For example, sometimes you need your customer service agent to work directly from their Outlook without opening CRM. So they itself there's an ability to sync their record with the CRM. Again, organization settings. This is a very important area. You can display and please pay attention to it. Display name. This is organization display name. Fine, it will be once you open your CRM instance, you'll be seeing those information. And unique name. Will be the database unique name, of course, and it can be changed later on. And here down, what you are seeing the currency. For example, if you are running your deployment in multiple organizations, for example, you are running in the US, and you can specify your main as a US, and you have another customer or another user who are using in the Middle East, for example, who they are using their local such as you can say dirham or whatever. Yes, a user themselves, they can go, or on that business unit you can specify default currency. But once currency is set, it can never be changed. Again, one more last options, you will be seeing SQL collections. These are also very important, but this will come handy when you are using Qual for when by default, if your organization is currently using CRM English based, then Latin general one is the ideal. But if you are using in Arabic or some other different company languages, you can choose there's if you click on this drop down, you get many options. But again, this SQL collection is well known. It will specify how string and indexes and everything being sorted. Please review and go through this before starting your installation. Again, next step, you have to make sure your report server. You need to configure your report server and make sure it's running by putting the report server URL on the browser. If it works fine, then that's it. Next is because it's required to while installing Microsoft Dynamics. Without report server, you cannot proceed. You cannot install Microsoft Dynamics. CRM will reject. What is use of reporting server? It's where Microsoft will store its RDL formats. It's a backbone for Microsoft Dynamics reportings. By putting the URL, as I said, port 8 is required from DB server to CRM server. This is the one. It's run on under HTTP. And again, you can have clustered reporting servers, more than one service to run reporting services. And again, Microsoft Dynamics update. This option is very tricky actually. If you click yes, if you are not keeping track of your updates, Microsoft will push updates to you, and you will be able to, and you'll be seeing this, and you will confirm only directly. But if you have custom solutions, are those points or those items are not taken care well, the update will of course destroy them. So you do make sure that you manually do the upgrades or updates for Microsoft patches, security patches. And I guess if you were able to see the screen, then congratulations, everything worked fine for you. Green screen. System will check if everything's fine, then we'll give everything green signal. Then the next button will be shown to you. When you click next, then the installer will run. It will take several minutes until it completes. During this operation, CRM is connected back and forth to your CRM, to your Active Directory, to your SQL server. It will do a lot of operations. Once the installer complete, you'll be able to see those two things. When you go back to your Active Directory, you will see CRM has created these several 4 groups. They are very mandatory, and please go through them. Brief reporting groups, brief user group, reporting groups, and SQL access groups. SQL access group is nothing but required for all the users who are having access to filter views to run these SQL access groups. And last things, the same groups, 3 groups will be created on the DB level. Brief reporting groups, and SQL access groups. And if you can see in here, you have the same organizations which has been created in here. And one more thing, you will see 2 databases being created. CRM, which when we select it up in here, unique name came. And MS CRM config. CRM config is required all one time. Let's say you have 2 organizations. One is CRM, the other one is CRM production. For example, you're running your testing and production environment on the same DB. It will work. MS CRM config. It will be single, and you can have multiple organizations. And reporting groups, if you're installing the same server, then you will be able to see these reportings. Thank you so much for watching. Hope it was a very short and detailed video. Please let me know if you require more of my videos. Thank you so much.